You don't need to know exactly where you are going to be in X amount of time. You just need to know and decide who you want to be right now. At the end of the day, put it this way, there are so many unforeseeable events to come in your life that you have no idea about, and so many factors that are outside of your control that you could really, for example, let's just say you have a very specific goal, which is great, you're goal driven, you're goal oriented, and you want something very specific to happen. And a lot of times in life, we can, attain very specific goals. They are within our reach. I think as we get older, there's more and more things that we desire that require a lot of other factors to work a certain way in our favor. And I just really believe that the best mindset to have to kind of keep stable is to understand we don't need to know exactly where we want to be, whether it's a goal that you have or it's a place that you want to be in life, or if it's a trajectory that you're following, but we can always choose who we want to be right now. And the distinction here is that at the end of the day, the life that we live is going to be carved by this person that we are in this moment now, and that can change, right? Because we evolve. And that's another really important point I want to make, is that, sometimes we have very specific goals at a certain point in time, and we are so certain and so convinced that we want X, Y, and Z out of life. And 6 months later, we think, maybe it was a means to an end, or maybe the different things that I am prioritizing in my life are shifting, and so we just don't know. We don't even know who we are going to become in 6 months. We don't even know who we are going to meet in 6 months. And I say this really because so much of life really is outside of our control. And that's not to say that we shouldn't have very specific goals and prioritize what we want out of life and be very specific. But it's to say that, let's imagine that you're doing everything correctly and maybe something is not working in your favor in life. Two things to keep in mind. What matters is who you want to be in that moment, right? So whatever obstacle you're facing, you get to decide who you want to be. And that will end up carving your path and your trajectory. And you never know what will come out of that. You never know. And that's the kind of the magic of it. And I can just say for myself, when I was 14, I was scouted, signed to a modeling agency, and I was so determined. Like, I was tunnel vision. That's all I wanted. I had very specific goals, and I really, really loved the industry, and I had very specific visions, and I really became so detail oriented, so determined. I kind of created like an internal list of things, of boxes that I needed to check in order to be successful. I matured quite early because of this. I was traveling alone. I was sacrificing a lot. And long story short, it didn't really work out my way. And a lot of times I think, my goodness, what am I doing wrong? And I kind of came to a point where I said, okay, no, this is definitely going to happen. Like, I'm not giving up. Like, this is going to happen. I just saw that it's almost as though life was redirecting me, right? And, it almost felt that the more I was knocking on certain doors and I wanted something so much and my intentions were so pure, like I just wanted this, not even as a means to an end. I just really loved modeling, and I loved, having a vision and bringing it to life and working with a production team to do so. And I loved so many of the different facets of the modeling industry. And I just, felt very disappointed and isolated. And all to say, going back to my point, there were so many forces and external factors that were not in my control. But throughout the whole process, looking back, I was always someone who was led by my intuition, very determined, never gave up. And I realized only in hindsight that I guess I had faith that things would work out the way that they were supposed to. The only thing I can do is choose the person I want to become in this moment. Life then will take care of itself, and really be intentional and have that goal in mind, have that life that you are trying to attain in mind, but then see the beauty in how life works itself out after that.